cut off, I was saying how we're going to do our introduction. We have a short reading comprehension activity, and then we're going to work a little bit on grammar, and then some writing at the end. And then at the very, very end, if you have any questions for me, I will have some time for you to ask and share any of our ideas. So now we're going to move on to our first reading. So before we do our reading, I want to ask you all, so when you're reading a passage for the first time, what are some strategies that you might use as a reader? So if you'd like to share any ideas, you can raise your hand. And if Flora, if you can help me look through the list of students, that would be great.
Sure.
Thanks. I can't see any of the names.
Anyone? Okay, Nicholas?
We could do text-to-self connections, text-to-world connections, and text-to-text connections.
That's awesome. So you can relate to the reading. Yep, anything else? Yes, I see a hand.
Ask questions.
Ask questions, yes. That's a good one. If you're not sure about something, you can ask questions.
How about just to pick someone? How about Janie? Do you want to answer? Okay.
Okay, so if there's no more, I will share some of my suggestions. So one thing I would say is look for important and keywords. And what I mean by that, sometimes when you're reading a passage, you see words that are underlined, highlighted, or bolded. So that's an important strategy for you to look for and understand that those might be really important words for you to use and understand to move forward with the reading. Another idea that we had somebody share with us is to make connections. So you mentioned text to self and text to the world and so many other ways that you can make connections. So you can ask yourself, what does this remind you of? And another one is use strategies to figure out tricky words. So sometimes when we're reading, we don't know all the words that we're reading, but you can try to understand what a word might mean based on the sentence, based on other words that are close by. And also, we can ask questions. So feel free to ask questions if you have any when we do our reading today. So now we can move on to our reading. So our reading today is titled Hide and Seek. So I'm going to read the first paragraph. And if any students would like to read one paragraph, then you may raise your hand after I finish the first one so that we can all get a chance to practice our reading fluency and our reading out loud skills. All right, so I'm going to start now. So it's titled Hide and Seek. In the wild, it often comes down to predator and prey. There is the hunter and there is the hunted. Organisms want to stay alive. They hide or escape from animals who would like to eat them. So how do they do it? They adapt to their environment. So is there any students who would like to read paragraph number 2?
One very helpful adaptation is called camouflage. You may have been surprised at some time by an animal that used to camouflage. It blended into its surroundings so well that you nearly missed seeing it. Its coloring, markings, or other physical features allowed it to blend in to the area around it.
Awesome reading. Does anyone want to read paragraph number 3?
Ombre, we saw Ombre. Ombre, go ahead. Animal uses camouflage to fool a predator. The hidden animal is not seen when a predator in an area looking for it. Wild goats, for example, have them look invisible among rocks. A baby giraffe's coat helps it hide among the grass and trees. A chameleon is a lizard that will change color depending on the surface it is on.
Thank you for reading, Aubrey. How about paragraph number 4? Anyone would like to try that one? I see Eva. You can unmute yourself and then read paragraph 4. Thank you.
Camouflage often works with the way around to predators, can use camouflage to trap their prey. A predator can attack unexpectedly an animal it wants to eat. The prey animal doesn't see danger because the predator blends into the habitat. A leopard's spotted coat helps it blend into the background and sneak up on its prey.
Awesome, thank you. And the last paragraph. Is there anybody? How about Meow?
Another popular adaptation is mimicry. Mimicry is when an animal has a physical
Characteristics
that make it look like other animal or plant. Some moths look like rats.
Predators
don't like rats will think the moth is a rat and not
eat it. Awesome, thank you so much for participating. So based on this reading, we have some questions to see if we have a good understanding of the article. So when you're using the article, feel free to look back onto the reading. You don't have to do it from memory. So look back onto the text and find keywords from the question. So why don't we look at question number 1 first? So it's asking, what is the function of camouflage in the wild? So if I were to answer the question, I see the keyword function of camouflage. So that is a key word, camouflage, right there. So is there anywhere in the text on the left-hand side, do you see the word camouflage? Which paragraph do you see that word? It might be bolded, highlighted.
Number 2.
Yes, number 2. So I would look for that word and look at paragraph 2 to see if we can find our answer there. So is anyone able to give me an answer of what the function of camouflage is? Why do animals camouflage?
For catching its prey or hiding from predators.
Yeah. So how would you answer that in a full sentence? So to answer it in a full sentence, you can use the question. So it says, what is the function of camouflage in the wild? So I would use the ending part. So the function of camouflage in the wild, and how do we fill in the blank there? How do we answer that question? Somebody raised their hand up and mentioned that just now. I'm not sure who it was. Would you like to repeat your answer?
Okay, like for catching the prey or for hiding from predators.
Exactly. It's to catch a prey or to hide from predators. Awesome. Thank you. And question number 2. So how do animals use mimicry? That's a new word, mimicry, to protect themselves. So let's look to see where in the paragraph do we see mimicry.
Paragraph 5.
Paragraph 5, yes. So I will highlight the word there. It says mimicry. So how do animals use this to protect themselves? Eric?
Animals use this to protect themselves to blend in an animal or a plant.
To blend into animals or a plant, is that what you said?
An animal or a plant.
Into an animal or a plant. So their bodies, their characteristics, they look like the animal or plant so that they can use it to hide. So this is just their how they look like in the outside already. So let's say if we have a frog and they want to hide, they're already green so that they can hide next to a leaf. So maybe some predators won't be able to see them. That's great, thank you. So now this one might be a little bit more challenging. So what do you see the difference? What's the difference between camouflage and mimicry? They're very, very similar, but they are different. So camouflage is in paragraph 2 and mimicry is in paragraph 5. So if you're not too sure, you can take another look at those paragraphs. So I'll give a few more seconds for you to look. So the difference between camouflage and mimicry. Okay, I see Eric's hand. Eric.
The difference for camouflage and mimicry is that camouflage can change and mimicry can't. And mimicry is blending into something that's living. Camouflage just blending into something that's not living.
So you can change colors. If an animal can camouflage, they can change, but you're saying mimicry, it's how they already look, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Mimicry is where they have a unchangeable physical characteristic. So let me move this up so we can all see. So the difference is that mimicry,
And this is how I did another one.
Yeah.
And camouflage is blending something that's not living, and mimicry is blending something that is living.
Oh, that's another good point that you made there. Mimicry, they mentioned that it makes it look like an animal or a plant, but in camouflage, it could be non-living things that they could blend into. Can you think of any examples?
Like camouflage can blend to some kind of rock, and mimicry can blend to some kind of tree or plant.
Yeah. Eva, was that a hand up or are you just using the thumbs up? Just using it? Okay. I wasn't sure if you wanted to share anything. Okay. So why don't we try number 4? So this one is just in your opinion. So let's say if you were a wild animal in this world, would you rather be able to mimic another animal, or would you want to have the ability to camouflage yourself, and why? So there's no right or wrong answer. It's just what would you like to be? What would you rather be? I would love to hear all your suggestions.
Camouflage.
Sorry, whose hand is up? Who's speaking? I just can't see the names. Let's hear from Aubrey. I saw your hand.
I would rather to use camouflage.
Ooh, why would you choose camouflage?
Because camouflage is fun. No one will guess who are you or
Yeah.
no one will see you.
So we have one person who wants to have the camouflage ability. Is there anyone who wants the camouflage ability as well? How
Yes.
How about Eva?
Yes.
Who wants to have the mimicry ability?
I could commit.
Nobody wants the mimicry ability. Interesting. That's fun. All right, so it seems like many of you love to have the camouflage ability. Camouflage ability. So that one wins so far. Okay.
And just to tell you, I have 2 reasons.
Yeah, what are your reasons?
First, there are mimicry stay on colors is kind of dangerous if there's no such color as it, so the prey can easily spy you. And camouflage, well, you can change colors so the prey can spy you, and well, there's stuff you can camouflage everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Like a dirt.
That is true. All right, if there's nobody else that wants to share, why don't we answer the last question for this passage? So let's say if a chameleon was on a green leaf. So a chameleon is similar to a lizard. If they were on a green leaf, what color do you think the chameleon would be? Is there anyone I haven't heard from?
Green.
It would be green. How would you know it's green?
Bugs.
Not
Yes.
all the time. It can be some other colors, some other leaf colors. You know, red,
Because-
orange.
Yes, because we're talking about camouflaging or mimicry, they would want to be the same color as the leaf so that their predators can't find them or catch them, right? Okay, so is there any questions of this so far? Any questions? If there are, Eric, do you have a question?
I have just a question. I think the color would be half green and half black because, well, you at least have a little black stripe in the middle and somewhere else.
Oh, you're talking about different colors, types of chameleons?
No, I'm just talking about leaves.
Oh, leaves, I see. Yes, if the leaf was black and green, maybe the chameleon would change into that color. But for this question in particular, it's stating that it's a green leaf. So that's why we would guess that the chameleon would be green. But you're right, we're not sure. We don't know for sure. Okay, so I'm gonna clear this up so we can move on. Okay, so this is just a similar question to a one that we had so far. So my question to you is, if you were stranded on the island, let's say you're stuck on, not an island, you were stuck in the wild for a day, what animal would you want to be? And your goal for the day is to survive. So I want you to talk about what animal in particular you would be, and would you camouflage? Would your animal camouflage, or would it demonstrate mimicry? It could be any animal. So there are some pictures I can have to help you think if we can't think of any at the top of our head. Aubrey, do you have a hand up?
Yes.
Okay, what would you like to be?
I like to be a lizard.
A lizard? Ooh, why would you want to be a lizard?
Because a lizard can camouflage.
Mm-hmm. Have you seen a lizard before in real life?
Yes.
You have? Where have you seen one? At the zoo?
In the zoo, yes.
What color was it?
It it is, I don't know, it is colorful. It has many colors to camouflage.
That's cool. Anybody else? What type of animal is would you be in the wild? What do you think will survive in the wild? I'm trying to look through the names. Let's see, Eric.
I would rather be a gopher because, well, they can anywhere and get the home out. It eats water and food a little so you can get some food for the winter months.
That's
and
an
it's
interesting
easier
trait.
to survive if you only eat a little bit.
Yeah, that is interesting. So I have some pictures up here. Let's see if it'll show. Would anyone be a zebra?
I think you could defeat
Nobody wants to be a
a
zebra?
snake, and it could.
Or a frog?
I'd be something more powerful, like a lion.
More powerful. Or someone mentioned a chameleon or a lizard. Those are all examples. Which ones do you think would survive? The zebra, the frog, or the lizard? How about Eric?
I think a frog will survive because zebra's camouflage power, camouflage power only works when they tons of them and take us around to tackle them and make them dizzy. And for the lizard thingy, well, it's cold-blooded and can even though it's like underwater. And my fly trap something like that. And the frog, well, frogs sometimes are poisonous, so it's even though if when the spider even bites it, it will be poisoned and die, so the frog can escape. And it lives in ponds, so it can drink water easy as some little fishes and others, so it can eat. And yeah, frogs mostly eat little fish or little bugs, and sometimes eat plants, so that would be easy.
That's awesome. Thank you for sharing. How about, why don't we hear from others who haven't participated yet? I haven't heard from, how about Kaylin?
Okay, so I'd be a frog because
You'd be a frog?
Because frogs are small and they're slippery, and they can like actually easily mix into leaves and sometimes flowers, grass, and they are poison, like just what Eric said. But they can leap high, and the predators can't get them that easily. Or they can hitch on a fish for a ride.
Ooh, that's a good idea.
Then they go into the water, up, down, and then the predator's like, oh no, I can't get it. Oh no, I can't get it.
That's great. Thank you for sharing. Okay. Is there anyone else? If not, we will move on. So how about, I heard, okay, Eric and then Aubrey, and then we will move on to the next task.
No matter how little disagreement with the last one, Vera can jump high. Well, if it comes to run is fragile, it doesn't care if it jumps high as so many miles. And this is the only place the frog can land, so it might die. For another one in this super fast, well, what if it comes to so many that you can't even get out, then you'll probably die too.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that can happen out there. Okay, Aubrey, did you want to share something?
Yes.
What would you like to share?
I think I would be a lizard.
You'd be a lizard? Why would you be a lizard?
Because lizard can camouflage and it is small. It is small and their predator won't see.
So you're small enough so you can hide behind things and you can change your color. That is very true. Thank you. All right, so we will move on to the next task. All right, so this is a cat and the cat needs some help. And so they want you to help the cat, and the cat is asking you if you can show him different ways to use these words in a sentence. So there are a few words that were bolded in our reading today. So we had prey, predator, camouflage, and mimicry. So these might be new words, they might be words that you already know, but I would love to have you use these words in a sentence so that this can help us better understand these words. All right, okay. So these are the 4 words that we had in our reading. So I'll give you some time to think about it. Can anyone like to share? So how would you use these words in a sentence? So let's start with the word predator. So before we start that, I think it's important to understand or think about what does the word mean first. So what does predator mean? Predator. Let's see, somebody haven't heard from. How about Claire?
Predator means like an animal that eats like herbivores, like they eat they eat other animals.
Other animals, exactly, perfect, thank you. So it's an animal that eats other animals. So they're hunting for other animals. So based on this definition that we've come up with together, how can we use this in a sentence? You can make up any sentence you want with the word predator inside. Who would like to give it a try? Let's start with Aubrey.
A predator eats prey.
A predator eats prey. Anyone have a different sentence? Okay, Eric?
Tigers, lions, and the son of tigers and lions are the strongest predators in the world.
Strongest predators in the world.
I mentioned another animal.
What's another animal?
The son of a tiger and a lion.
What was the first animal?
The tiger and the lion. Well, if a tiger marries a lion marries, then it'll become another strong predator.
Yeah.
That's the same as the tiger or a lion.
That's great. Okay, so why don't we move on to
why didn't you write it down?
Because that's a great idea. So I will write that down later, but we need to move on to the next one so we can keep the class moving, all right? So what's the definition of a prey? So we figured out predator. What's the prey? How about, who I haven't heard of? I hadn't heard from Winnie.
A food that predator eats.
Oh, something that a predator eats. Or something a predator eats. So it's something that a predator will hunt for, a prey. All right. Let's think of a new sentence with the word prey in it. How about Jacob?
Let me think.
Okay. It's no rush. Take your time. Okay, Jacob, we'll come back to you, okay? I'll ask you after I ask Nicholas because he has his hand up.
Me?
Yes.
So how about the sentence? Tigers eat gazelles as prey.
Gazelles?
Yeah.
Tigers eat gazelles. Tigers eat gazelles as prey. Is that what you said?
Yep.
As prey. All right. Thank you. Kaylin, do you have your hand up?
No, I didn't. I guess
Okay.
I just put it up. I just want.
Okay, no problem. How about Aubrey?
Insects are frogs' prey.
Are frogs prey? Awesome. Those are great sentences that you all made. How about, what is the definition of camouflage? We talked about this a lot. Camouflage. So try not to get it mixed up with mimicry. Let's hear from Erin. Erin, are you there? No? Okay. How about Ida? No? Okay. And who would like to help us out? Thank you, Aubrey.
A camouflage is that something or an animal that to change the color, like the surface, like the surrounded color.
Color to its surroundings. Awesome. Okay. So how about we just define mimicry and then we'll move on because time is a little tight now. Mimicry. What's the definition of mimicry? How about, do we ask everybody? Eric?
Tigers never mimicry.
Sorry?
Tigers never mimicry.
Tigers never mimicry. But what's the definition?
Tigers never has an
How do you define mimicry? Someone that's never heard of the word.
It's surrounded of a plant or an animal.
Oh, Jacob, you have your hand up?
Yes. Mimicry is an animal that can blend into animals or plants.
That can blend into other animals or plants. Awesome. Thank you very much. That's a great definition. All right, so we will clear this board up and we will move on to grammar. So grammar just helps us to write better and to make sure that we're making sense to our readers. Okay, and it's important. Sometimes we use these without knowing. Sometimes that's why we have to learn and make sure we're aware of these things. So who can tell me what a verb is? A verb. Jacob?
A verb is an action.
It's an action, yes. So it tells us what a subject or what a noun is doing. So what is this item doing? It can also describe the state of the noun. So it can be a non-action too. So let's, for example, some of the examples down here. So action verbs are like walking, jumping, flying. All these things are actions. But then it can also describe the state. So what is that noun doing? How is it at that point? So some of the examples are am, is, are, was, and were. So those are also verbs. So those are non-action verbs. So our task, our goal today is to figure out some of these verbs. So we have to look for the verbs, identify the verbs, and also let us know if it's an action verb or a non-action verb. Okay, so let's see. Number 1 says, the bird flew high above the trees. So can someone tell me what the verb is? I think we have 2 Evas in this chat, correct? Yeah, so how about I'll ask you. If you can unmute, make sure you unmute. Okay, so Nicholas answered actually in our chat. He helped us answer the question. Thank you, Nicholas. So he told us that the verb is flew. Try to circle that. Flew. So is that a action or a non-action? Jacob.
It's an action.
It's an action. Awesome. Why don't we do the odd numbers because of time concerns? So we'll do question 1 and then we'll do question 3. So he is 9 years old. So I hear from Aubrey that it is, it's a non-action. So which one is the non-action verb? Let's identify that one. Let's see, how about Jacob? I see your hand.
It's he's.
It's he? Does anyone think the same? Anyone have a different answer? So we're looking for the non-action verb. If you need extra help, you can look up at the top here. Up here, these are some examples. So am, is, are, was, and were. So I have an answer for is. So yes, the correct answer is, and that is because it's stating this, it's talking about the state. It's describing the state of the noun. So the noun, we're talking about a person. The person is a boy because you talk about he. So the boy is 9 years old. Awesome. All right, number 5. So I'm gonna add here. So this one, we figured that it's a non-action. Number 5, what time is it? What time is it? Non-action. Does everyone agree that it's a non-action? Yep, I think so too. So it is a non-action and it's also is. Non-action. Okay, for the next question, number 7, can somebody read the sentence and then tell us if it's a non-action or an action verb and which one is it? Let's see. I haven't heard from a while. How about Julie? So if you're more comfortable typing in the chat, you may do so as well so that I know. Yep, so thank you for sharing your thoughts. So it is was and a non-action. And a non-action. All right. Non-action. Okay, let's see. So let's fill in the blanks with the appropriate verbs that are given in this part. So we're working on activity D. So it says, during the summer holidays, many students blank on vacation. So now we're switching gears and working on filling in the blanks and seeing which one works the best. So I see from Aubrey that Aubrey mentioned that he thinks the best answer should be many students went on vacation. Okay. Can somebody help me finish the second sentence? Starting with John. John blanked to England to visit his relatives. So here are the words up here. You can use sailed, stayed, built, flew, took, and camped. Eric.
John flew.
Flew, yes. So they're going on a plane. So John flew to England to visit his relatives. Susan blanked her uncle's boat. What did Susan do to her uncle's boat? Thank you for sharing. Aubrey said sailed. Does anyone agree with sailed or disagree? Is there any other ideas?
Disagree.
Disagree? Who's okay? If you disagree, what do you think the better choice can be?
I think it's took.
Oh, maybe it's took.
Yeah, I think took is much better.
Okay, so why don't we choose took for now? So why do you say it's took sounds better? Is it because of the tenses? Are we looking at past tense, present tense, or what are we looking at?
I think it is past tense. Past tense.
Okay, yep. So why don't we look at number 4 and see if we have to change any of our answers. So what did Paul do? Paul blank in the woods. What do you do in the woods?
Camped.
Yes, you do camp. Does anyone like camping?
I can say for sure. I've never been to a camp.
Oh, I like camping. I like to be in nature, but there's a lot of mosquitoes, which I don't like. You always get bit by bugs.
I have a thing that can kill mosquitoes.
Yeah, that would be good. So in the woods, Paul camped in the woods with his parents and blank a campfire every night.
And
Built.
Built. Great. And built, so you built a campfire. So camped, built has been used, so we only have 2 more. Can someone read the next sentence?
Some students sailed.
Some students
sailed home.
So I hear from Aubrey and Jacob that they think it's stayed home rather than sailed home.
Stayed.
How about the next one? It says they sailed day trips to something. They sailed day trips to, is that a little bit?
So are there any things that we maybe made a mistake on? So you think that some students stayed home. So I think that's correct.
I
Because
think they stayed home, but because the next, if let's say the next one doesn't make sense.
Yeah, so they blank day trips to various places.
I think that took and Susan sailed her uncle's boat.
So you think we have a few things that were wrong? Which ones do you think we can change?
We can change.
I think we could change the talk to sailed.
Or, yeah, which one? This one. Remember what somebody mentioned that this one might be sailed?
Yeah.
3 sailed. So if we change that one
And
back to sailed, would that make our sentences make more sense?
yes, and in the 7 it is they took day trips to various places.
Awesome. So it's okay to put a word down and then figure out later that, oh, maybe a better word will fit there, will be a better fit. So that's totally fine. That's how we figure out which ones are correct and incorrect. Okay, let's move on. So we're not going to do that one. Okay, so there are so many reasons. We're going to move on to writing now. So I used to really, really like writing because you can have a lot of creativity. You can write about what you would like. You can talk about so many things to express yourselves. So generally, there's 4 reasons, 4 purposes of writing. One of them is to entertain people, to make them laugh, to make them happy. One of them is to persuade, so to convince somebody of something. And number 3, it's to explain. So let's say I'm very knowledgeable in something and I want to tell people what I know, so to explain. And number 4 is to inform people. So let's say something that's very important to you and you want others to know about it. So we have to entertain, we have stories, poems, plays, letters, and a lot of business letters and letters to companies. We want to convince them of something. And then to explain, we have maybe recipes, or manuals of how to build something. And we also have informative writing, where it's like reports, newspapers, and other things like that. Okay, so I would love to give you the rest of the time to choose one of the options that I have for you here. So I love to have my students write every class to improve on their grammar and anything like that. Grammar and to showcase their creativity. So today is July 31st. I can't believe it's already the end of July. And so when I did some research, I figured out that today was National Mutt Day. So what mutt is, it's a mixed breed of dogs. So dogs can have different breeds, so different types. So my favorite one is a golden doodle. If you see in the picture that I just put up. So it's a mix of a golden retriever and a poodle. So it's a mixed breed of dogs. It's also World Ranger Day. So a ranger is somebody that takes care of our parks. So they clean it, they take the garbage away. So it's a World Ranger Day. And number 3, it's National Cotton Candy Day. I used to love cotton candy. So based on these special days, I wrote a few prompts, so suggestions that you can write about. So if you have pencil or paper with you, I'd love to have you choose a topic and write about it. So the first topic I have is write a story where a dog is the main character. Be as creative as you can with the plot. And number 2, you can talk about park rangers, how they protect our parks. And would you be interested in becoming a park ranger? Explain why or why not. Or you can choose the third example where you can write a list of adjectives, so descriptive words. So how do you describe how cotton candy looks like, smells like, tastes like, and even feels like. So I'd love to give you a few minutes to look at the questions, choose one that you're most interested in, write about it, and if we have time, I would like to hear what you guys wrote. If you have any questions, you can feel free to ask, or you can write in the chat if you're more comfortable with that.
I have no question.
Okay, so because time is almost up, is there anyone who would like to share what they've written so far?
Nope.
And that's okay if you're not comfortable. So if there aren't any, is there nobody that wants to share? That's okay.
Can I share?
Who said would like to share? Sorry, I didn't see.
Nicholas.
Nicholas, sure.
So I did National Cotton Candy Day.
Okay.
The first one is soft. The second one is yum, mouth-watering, it's squishy, it's sweet, and it smells like candy, and it's very delicious.
That's great. It is delicious. Okay, so if you aren't done, feel free to finish this up on your own time. And then if you are in class with me in the future, I would love to hear the full paragraph, all that you've written, and we can look and check for grammar, spelling, and talk about how we can improve our writing. So if not, do any of you have questions for me or for Flora in terms of our class today or in the future? Eric?
Just to say, you kind of skimmed me on the how to be a good reader one.
How to be a what?
Good reader one.
A good reader.
Kind of skimmed me too. I'm just gonna tell